So Fernando, we'll
Yeah.
we'll wait a minute or two here, but then we'll jump in. And I know you shared a little bit when we were doing the grantee spaces, but this is a time for you to go a little more in depth into your background. Um, tell people your Bitcoin story. There'll be people here that weren't at that one, and then we also record this and put it up on the YouTube channel. So we just want to give people a little background on who you are and your Bitcoin story, and then how the project came to be and what kind of the goals are. I think you had an event. I think after the last time we spoke, right? Was there an event or something you were going to do?
Oh yes. The event happened already, and I will tell you more about it
Okay.
during the conversation. Yeah.
So you're not at the Dodgers game tonight, huh?
No, no, but but it's very fun. Apparently, it's something that they have been doing for a few years now, and people are loving it.
Yeah. For those who are listening tonight, it's Salvadoran night at the Dodgers game. So supposedly they're even serving pupusas and some other Salvadoran food. So hopefully they got some legitimate pupusas there. But yeah,
I
it
think
sounds
so. I
like
think I think you get the legitimate stuff here in Los
okay.
Angeles. Mhm.
Good deal. Well, yeah. So why don't you go ahead and start giving us a little bit of your background and your story, and we'll dive into details about the project. I know it's still early days in the project, and you're still you know kind of
Yeah,
formulating exactly what your focus is going to be and your goals. But would love for you to just kind of share where you're at, and then we'll get into some questions.
perfect. Okay. My name is Fernando Gallegos. I'm originally from El Salvador. I live in the United States. I moved to the United States when I was 19 years old. I went to college here, and I got a degree on fashion and worked in the fashion industry for about 25 years, traveling around the world, doing product development. That was my specialty. And worked for companies like Puma, Adidas, Under Armour, the Limited Group, great companies. And I had a great opportunity to work with incredible people around the world. And lived in Moscow, Russia for a year and a half, managing a project, then in Jordan for another year, and traveled through Asia, Mexico, Latin America, and Eastern Europe for many years. So after a while, I was hired by Puma, and our office was here in Long Beach. And one day, my boss called me and said, "Fernando, we're closing this office and we're relocating it in El Salvador." And I went like, "What?" Yeah, we're relocating in El Salvador. So we closed the shop here, the office here in Long Beach, and moved it to El Salvador. And that was in 2006, a few years ago. And we were there for a few years until having. I was working for Puma, developing product for Latin American market and the North American market. And then the economic crisis happened in 2009, and we had to close from 14 factories to 5. And then they offered me another opportunity to move to Mexico. And I say, I'm in El Salvador. I want to do something else. So I left the company. I bought a little hostel in Playa El Tunco and opened up a surfing camp. I ran for about 7 years, but during all that time, I never
What
ever.
what was the name of it?
It was called Casa Tamanique. It was
Okay.
a very popular place. It was at the beginning of El Tunco when El Tunco wasn't what it is now. There
Yeah.
were only a few places there, and I was one of them. And we have people coming from Austria, Italy, all over the place and stay with me. They love my little place, and I never heard about Bitcoin during all that time. I don't know why. So I ended up selling and moving back to the United States. And 2015, I moved back to LA, and and then I heard about Bitcoin. And somebody talked to me about Bitcoin and said, "Fernando, are you putting money in Bitcoin?" And I even stopped my friend at that moment. And I said, you know what? If I cannot see it, touch it with my hands, I don't want to know. Thank you, but no. And I never heard about it anymore. Back in the day, Bitcoin was about $400 a coin. And I can stop, banging my head because I didn't listen to my friend then. Anyway, so the time went by, and in September of 2021, a lot of years went by, and the president of El Salvador all of a sudden is giving $30 worth of Bitcoin to everybody who downloads the Chivo wallet. And I was like, what? What is this? So I downloaded the wallet without knowing anything, and I downloaded my $30 and I kept it. I still have those $30 in my wallet. And I started to study it because I thought, okay, it's gotta be something here. I thought it was just like a casino token and that people in Venezuela were using because of their regime, and I didn't really want to know anything about it. But when the president made it legal tender in El Salvador, and I thought it's got to be something else. So I started to delve into it, and I found this podcast of this couple, Max and Stacy, talking that they have been talking about Bitcoin for years, and they were like some kind of celebrities. And I thought, okay, I have to listen to what these guys have to say, and I started to listen to them, and I got a little more excited about it. And then I found this young guy, Jack Mallers, that was one of the main persons involved in El Salvador making Bitcoin legal tender. So it's like, what is this? And I have to listen to these guys. And then Samson Mao came up, and I started to listen to them, and I was very, very curious. And suddenly I heard about this book called the Bitcoin Standard, and they say that book was like, if you wanted to know everything about Bitcoin, that was like the Bitcoin Bible. And I said, I gotta get this book. So I ordered the book. The book came, and I started to read the book. And once I started, I didn't even want to stop. I read the book like, I don't know, I was just like totally immersed into it, and I continued reading the book until I finished it. I couldn't even stop reading the book. And then I noticed that, well, before, when I started to read the book, there was this foreword by Michael Saylor, and I said, who's this guy? I didn't even know who that guy was. And I started to find out things about him. I listened to his podcast, and all of a sudden, everything changed. From that moment onward, my life changed. And I couldn't even believe why I didn't listen to my friend in 2015 when he tried to speak to me about Bitcoin, and I stopped him, like an idiot. And and I knew that I needed to share this with people. I knew. And I started to talk to my friends and family about it, and nobody knew anything about it. And I was like, I cannot believe you guys haven't heard anything about this. It's like, it was just like me when I didn't know anything about it. And I thought, no, you have to know this. And I started to share uh, pieces of information to my friends and to my family about Bitcoin. And everybody was like very reluctant. I said, Fernando, what are you doing? This is like, we don't want to know. And I said, you have to know. You have to understand this. And for some reason, then I found a couple of family members that wanted to know about it, and I started to speak more about it. Then
were they curious at all about what was happening in El Salvador? I'm assuming your family members are Salvadoran, so
yeah, exactly, especially in El Salvador, because they were living there, and I said, I can't believe you live in El Salvador. It is legal tender, and you don't know anything about it. They didn't know anything about it, and I go, I cannot believe this. And then I made them download the app, Chivo Wallet, and I said, you got to download this, and you have to save this money. Don't spend it, save it. obviously they spent it, because they thought $30. Most of my family members that I made them download the wallet, they spent the money anyways because they didn't know. So that was very intriguing to me, and that was like the seed that kind of started everything. At that point, I thought, oh no, I have to share this with people. This cannot just. I mean, people cannot just live this life and not know about this, and then pass away, and I mean, don't learn anything about it. This is the beginning of a life changing opportunity. So I started to make videos on on YouTube, on Facebook as well, and very very rudimentary, like not so much technology in it. Just wanted to share the knowledge, and I started little by little, and all of a sudden people started to listen, and some people started to like it, and people started to watch my videos and YouTube, and I thought, okay, I put more into it, and maybe they like my videos more, and one day I was reading podcasts, reading information, and I found that the beach, Bitcoin Beach, had created these grants that were to people who wants to spread the word about Bitcoin, and who people who want to create circular economies. And I thought, oh, this may be something that maybe it's aligned of what I wanted to do. So I signed it up in a sessions one day with Geyser, and they were speaking about it, and other communities were talking about it, and I started to listen, and I started to put my things together, and I say, this is maybe the way where I need to be, so I can continue spreading this. And and on one occasion, in one of those sessions, there was Scott Wolf talking about what the circular economies were about, and what do people really need to get into it. Because originally I wasn't really targeting anybody. I was just making videos in general, speaking to general people, no one really directly, or not nothing really special. I was just talking about Bitcoin, and I thought that was the way to do it. But then he said, you have to find a niche, something that you can really work on, a community, or a piece of town, or something that could be more solid. And at that point onwards, I started to think, how and where. And all of a sudden, I realized that Los Angeles, such a big city, hosting one of the largest diaspora from El Salvador in the world, and these people are not using Bitcoin. These people are sending remittances to El Salvador every day, and paying large amounts of fees to these companies, and they are not using Bitcoin. When they can use Bitcoin and send it, with very low fees, and I say, this is the opportunity. This is the group of people I need to work with. And that's how the idea of making the Los Angeles circular economy came up, especially starting it with the diaspora from El Salvador. That I know that once these people start using Bitcoin, they will also get more people involved, like other communities, like the Mexican community in Los Angeles, or maybe other speaking Spanish communities like Peruvians, Guatemalans, and I don't know. There are so many in Los Angeles, and they all interact within each other, but no one is using Bitcoin. So that's where I thought it was a great opportunity to put something together, and to work with a community to work with, and that's how Los Angeles circular economy came up.
So it seems, like you said, it's especially unique situation for the Salvadorans that are there, because they can send it to family members, and it really is the easiest way to get money back and forth. I know what a hassle that can be. trying to send funds to family members. So it does seem surprising that that more people haven't
You, you
uptaken it
know
by this point.
what is most surprising is that even though there have been a lot has been said about Bitcoin and this Bitcoin office in El Salvador, and when I was in okay, so let me just go back to this. So when I started to work on the on the community, I thought, okay, when is the right time to start this project? And every year in the during the festivities of San Salvador that happens in the first week of August, they celebrate a festival in Los Angeles that is called the Salvadorian Festival, and it gathers about 30,000 Salvadorian origin people to go to the festivities and music and food and stuff. And I thought, okay, this is the opportunity. I kicked off my project during the festivities of the Salvadorian Festival, and that's what I did. I opened up a booth during the festivities, during the festival, and I have brochures and I have all kinds of information and stickers. I even had some kind of merchandise to sell, and during the day, and that's when I got the opportunity to speak to a lot of Salvadorians who live in the United States, who have lived here for many years, and some of these people haven't even been back in El Salvador in years, and during this opportunity, I started to find out more information of what people really need in order to make Bitcoin a form of payment here in Los Angeles,
I
and
mean, that's awesome. That's exactly what we need to hear. So please take as much time as you want to explain this, because I would love to hear the different comments you got from people, or what their takes were, or what they were afraid of, or what they were excited about. So please, let's really
yes,
dive deep on this.
some of the people that came by the booth and to ask questions to find out, these people were a little more savvy, in the sense that they knew a bit more than other people, at least a little more, but not much, to tell you the truth. But anyways, so when they saw my booth and they saw the sign and they saw my Salvadorian, I was wearing a Salvadorian jersey and I had the Salvadorian flag flying there. So when they saw it, they came to my booth and asked questions. And some of these people, they knew a little bit about it. And some people came curious, but they didn't know much about it. And one of the things that I found out is that they are still afraid that this is not a real money. They think that it might be some kind of a casino token that is being used, and that's the sort of mentality they have. And they know they have heard that there's a way to send remittances through this, but they don't really know how. And that was very striking, because I thought that more people will come by and say, "Oh, I'm using these." I was expecting to hear that, and it wasn't. So what I did is, in top of having my booth and talking to the people that came to my booth, I went along the corridor that is known as the Salvadorian corridor, and I went to talk to the merchants for the first time. And I started to talk to them, and I say, "Hi, are you from Salvador?" "Yes, yes, yes." And then everybody saying, from Santana, from different places of El Salvador. And I said, "Do you take Bitcoin?" "No." And I said, "Why not?" And they say, "No, we don't have it." And I said, "Why not?" Because we don't have it. They didn't have any reason. They just don't know. And I went to the next, and the same answer, and to the next, and it was just the same. And I couldn't believe it. And I said, I cannot believe you are not taking Bitcoin and using this opportunity. This is such a great opportunity to, and they wouldn't even say anything about it, because they know anything about it. I went to a couple of restaurants where they have Chivo ATM. And I sat down and looked, just ordered food and sat down to see what interaction were with the ATM machine, and nobody got even close to the machine. Then I went and talked to the people who worked in the restaurant, and I say, do people use this ATM machine at all? And someone say, oh yeah, well, every now and then somebody comes and use it. And I go like, do you know how to use it? No. Do you have a digital wallet? No. And you have the ATM machine right here, and you are from El Salvador, and you send remittances to El Salvador every 2 weeks, and you don't know, and you don't have an ATM, and you don't have a digital wallet, and you don't know that this can be used to send money to El Salvador. And she said, no. And I was totally surprised, because even though they had the machine right there, the employees didn't know anything about it. So that was very striking. And it was very interesting because that same day I stayed there for a little longer, and there was a group of people sitting at another table, and they saw me talking to the lady, and before they left the restaurant, they stopped at my table and said, "Excuse me, are you from El Salvador?" And I said, "Yes." And she go like, "You were talking about Bitcoin," and I go like, "Yes." Oh, do you know anything about Bitcoin? And she was a woman like about probably 50 to 60 years old, and her family, her husband, and her nieces or grandkids or something were there with them, and she said, "No, I heard about it, and I really would like to use it. I know that you can save money in it, but I don't know how to do it." And I go like, it's incredible. And I handed my flyer and I handed my brochure. I said, you have to talk to me. We have to talk more about it, because there is a way you can actually save money in this and pass it to your family, pass it to your grandkids, or whoever you want to do it in a very safely way. So we need to talk. And it was very surprising. And I know that there is a lot of people just like them here that have no clue at all. So that was what excited me about it, and to get more into it. And the stories are very similar everywhere I went in different areas. There are 14 blocks starting on the 11th Street, on Vermont Avenue, all the way to Washington Boulevard, and then across there you have Venice Boulevard, and from Normandy to Orange Boulevard. So it's a huge area in Los Angeles that is denominated as the Salvadorian Corridor. And there you find a lot of little shops, pharmacies, street vendors along the whole corridor. You see a lot of different street vendors selling food, minutas, and corn in the cob, stuff like that, and other people selling, clothing and souvenirs from El Salvador. So it's a very interesting, dynamic area there. And for some reason, these people have no clue. So this is like to me, it's like it make my eyes bright, because I think I have an opportunity to do what I wanted to do, and it's to share the knowledge with all these people. And that's what I've been doing these past weeks after the festival, visiting vendors and merchants in the street, talking to them, spreading, spreading a little bit of flyers and brochures about it. I'm offering. At the moment, I don't know how many people will sign up. I haven't really get many people. I've been talking to people online, but I haven't really got any list yet of people that want to sign up for the classes. But I plan to have 3 classes a week in 3 different groups, hopefully, and the most, or maybe 2. I'm not sure yet how is it going to be. But I'm excited about it. And
where will those classes? Where will you hold those classes?
These classes are going to be online. I'm going to be online through a Google Classroom. For that, I took a 10 weeks course, my first Bitcoin MPB course, and I also signed it up with the node. With a light node, and these people, I've been talking to these people, and we are setting to set up my classroom and to help, technical support. I have downloaded all the educational um, mm, uh, material. I have the book, the teacher's guide. I've been studying and putting the classes together during this past weeks, and I plan to start, hopefully, if everything goes well, by the third week of September with the first class, with the first group of people. It's gonna be online because it's in Los Angeles. It's kind of a hard, it's an expensive kind of a real state, place, to rent a spot and to have like a physical class. Maybe in the future, I would probably be able to do that. But at the moment, I think that the best way to do it is through a Google Classroom.
So I'm curious, when you were at the event and you were talking to the different people, did it seem like younger people or older people, or what was it? Who did you sense was the most open to learning about Bitcoin? And
the most open people that came directly to my booth without me, calling, were older people.
Okay.
Older people were like, they came and knock, and they came and say, "Oh, what is this? Can I have some of this?" But
and
they don't.
Had they heard about it happening in El Salvador, or was it totally new to them?
No, they heard that something was happening in El Salvador. Some people knew a little bit about it, and it was very interesting because the older part of the community were more into trying to find out more than the younger people. The younger, I have to call them. They say, "Oh, I know," and say, "Come over, let me talk to you about it." And they will come and they will listen and they will come back and talk to me about it. They kind of knew something about it, but the older were more into staying there for like 10 minutes and talking about it and asking questions. How can you pass it? How can you keep it safe? Things like that. And that was very exciting because these are the people who are like close to retire. These are the people who wants to go back to El Salvador. These are the people who want to pass their wealth to their relatives, and it's very interesting that these are the people that wants to know more. So it was very, very, very eye-opening opportunity, that festival.
So what were some things that it kind of changed your mind about after talking to people? Like what are some things that you decided to do differently, or things that you hadn't really thought about doing that now you think you want to do?
Yes. Okay. First of all, I thought that I wanted to jump into the circular economy. Boom. Okay, let's make a circular economy. Charge with Bitcoin. You will be paid with Bitcoin. You will save Bitcoin. But I don't think it will work that way. First of all, I think it has to be. I have to first of all do a very, very more into visits to merchants, talk to them, and bring flyers and information so I can share with them, give them something physical so they can always go back to, and to talk to them about it. The second thing will be to teach them about money and Bitcoin, just like the way that my first Bitcoin educational books are. It's just like the way that the Bitcoin standard is. You know how it starts teaching you about money, and once you understand money, then you will be curious to know how Bitcoin can solve those deficiencies that money has, and that's very, very, very important. So before even start working on making a circular economy, you have to talk to people about money, and they have to understand what money is and what Bitcoin is and what Bitcoin can do for them. I was talking to some of those during that time, talking to some of these people, and as you know, not everybody living in the United States is has a legal situation. Some people do, the majority of people do, but some people don't. And these people who have not a permanent legal situation, they usually don't have bank accounts because they have no access to banks. So when I told them, what if you were able to have, I know you can go open a bank account at Bank of America or any other bank, but what if you were able to have a a application on your phone that will allow you to save your money securely, so you don't have to keep it under your mattress and because everything they do, they pay it with cash. Everything they it's always cash because they don't have any other way. And I said, well, but what if you are able to put it in a digital wallet and then send the money to your family directly from your wallet without even going to Western Union or any of these companies? And they went like, yes, that's something that would be nice to do, but I'm afraid that anybody can just get into my phone and steal it or take it. So education about Bitcoin and how to save it is very, very important. So Bitcoin education, first of all, education about money, and second, a Bitcoin education. That's very, very much important. Even vendors or merchants, they are very reluctant to start. Oh yeah, I will start charging Bitcoin. No, they first need to learn what Bitcoin is in order for them to know that they can accept it, and that will be grateful for them. And then the third part would be building a circular economy. So the way I see myself now working is that during this time until I begin with the first class, I will be visiting people, sharing brochures, talking about the information about the currency and how it can help them if they study and learn about it. And the second thing will be to teach Bitcoin. So for me, before even start thinking of making a circular economy, it's to open up the classes and to start teaching about Bitcoin to this community so they can start learning about money and Bitcoin. And I'm sure the ones they learn about Bitcoin, they will definitely want to be part of a circular economy because it only offers, it offers what they are so insecure of, the money, the evaluation, the prices going high all the time. It's just crazy the way prices are going here in Los Angeles and everywhere around here. It's crazy.
I'm curious, beyond just Bitcoin, what's your sense of, we're seeing in El Salvador a lot of the diaspora coming back, that they're coming to El Salvador, they're buying properties, some of them are moving back. Do you hear much talk like that from the Salvadoran community in LA, or have you seen that at all?
Yes, that's what I sense with the older community. That's what I feel. They have a feel of, because of the security in El Salvador has changed, and the country is developing, in a faster pace. They all want to be part of it, and they want to go back to it. And this is what I hear. I would like to go back home. I would like to go back there, buy property. I would like to go back there, and open up business. They have those ideas, but those ideas are not along with Bitcoin for some reason yet. Are not there. They are not going together, and I'm sure that if these people are more knowledgeable about Bitcoin, it will be incredible the way the change that it will make in their minds. If they know more about Bitcoin. So I think even though El Salvador has been making a lot of progress on spreading the Bitcoin word in El Salvador. Here in the United States, it's not as wide, and most of the Bitcoin information I find here is within the English-speaking communities, Anglo, basically, mostly, or European communities that live in California or in different areas of California. And the Hispanic and the Spanish-speaking communities are they know very little about it. And that is something that excites me because I know that there is a huge opportunity to do something and to make it really big, to make a change and make it big. But it is so in the beginning that it's kind of hard. It's even hard when I start talking to some people and they all they say, "Oh, I put my money on. If I want to save my money, I want to put it in SP 500, or I want to do it. I want to put some stocks, or I want to put it in this and that." But when I say, "Why don't you put it in Bitcoin?" and they go like, "Oh no, I wouldn't do that." It's like they have no knowledge, very very little knowledge about it. So it's it is a great opportunity for people like me who wants to share this, but it's such a it's gonna be a huge. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of work, to make it happen.
Yeah, no, these things, people always underestimate the amount of man hours that it takes. I mean, it's a very personal thing, kind of one person at a time. Once you get the momentum, then it kind of, it's like a snowball. It's hard to get started at first, but you get it rolling down a hill, it just keeps picking up speed. And so we're still in those early stages, especially, what you're doing. So I was gonna go ahead and open it up and see if there's anybody that has any questions or that wants to comment. Just make sure that you keep it related to the topic at hand, that it's about Bitcoin, hopefully more specifically about what's going on there in LA. So Shooter, you want to
Yeah.
come
What's
up
up,
first?
Mike,
What's
Paco,
happening?
and Fernando?
Hey, Shooter.
Hey, yeah, so I'm here in LA too. I had an idea. I know that there are a few meetups, like in maybe a 30-mile radius or so, and obviously all Bitcoiners know about El Salvador. And so I think if you found like one Salvadoran restaurant, I bet you could organize some type of event and have, 20 or 30 people go out there, from the area. And because I always thought it would be, that might be a point to get Bitcoin across to Salvadorans here is if they're already sending money back home and they have a business and they can accept Bitcoin, right? Then, they can just send it right back home. So anyway, that's all I wanted to mention is that might be an angle where it's kind of a win-win. The business owner gets business, and obviously they get like saturated with 10, 20 Bitcoiners, at their business. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes, that's very, very interesting. One of the, to me, from my point of view, is one of the most impactful steps that we can take is to continue spending Bitcoin within the circular economies or the business that accept Bitcoin at this time, because that will encourage more merchants to join. It will strengthen the Bitcoin-driven local economies for sure, and that's what we need to do. If there are Bitcoiners that have some Bitcoin, some spare Bitcoin to spend, go to these places and offer them because that's how they're gonna get excited about it.
Fernando,
Because
what I mean is, like the meetups here that I've gone to, for example, they go to the same place, but the place doesn't accept Bitcoin, But if in Glendale, for example, but if there is an El Salvadoran restaurant or a bar in Glendale instead, you could probably convince them to have the meetup there instead, right? And if the business owner is going to accept Bitcoin, I mean, these people are spending dollars, so they're already wasting, sats anyway, right? They could have been buying sats anyway. So they would be
Exactly.
happy to spend it, but and use it on the Bitcoin rails. And so maybe you
What,
could do that among other meetups where you could find a local business close to that meetup, so it's easy for those meetup people. And then just say, hey, just you don't have to change it forever, but just once, let's go to this Salvadoran restaurant and let's support the circular economy in El Salvador. It might be interesting.
Shooter,
that is the goal. This is what I when I go and talk to the merchant, that's what I offered. I said, okay, if you accept Bitcoin, you will have more people coming into your business. But before even starting making a meetup, you have to, like you say, you have to agree with the business owner that they will want to do that. And that could be something that can be definitely done. It needs to be put together. It just requires getting a group of people organized and try to get the people who's going to come for the meetup and spend some sats in the business. It will be something
Shooter,
that will be
maybe you and Fernando can connect. You can DM each other and you can figure out a way to try to get one of these meetups to be held at a Salvadoran place. Because I agree with you. I think that if you can bring to them a group and say, hey, we're going to
like
bring
a
this
tour
group
group
of
or something,
20 people. Yeah.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Definitely, for sure. I'm very
I think
interested.
the
I would like to.
Bitcoiners would be excited too because they're from
100%.
Salvador and so they would love to have it done at a Salvadoran restaurant. So.
And to spend Bitcoin. I mean, there aren't very many places that you can do it here. And so, I mean, it's kind of silly to meet up somewhere that doesn't accept Bitcoin. So again, I think like literally, Fernando, if you find a place in Glendale that could be suitable and you talk to the business owner and they're open to it, like you can let me know. And I'm sure I know the organizer of the place in the meetup in Glendale. And last time I went, there was like 15 people. So 15 people times what, $20 or $30? That's not bad for a business.
It's a good opportunity. Yeah, exactly. We'll stay in touch and we'll talk more about this and hopefully we can make it happen sometime soon. Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I also I am very surprised about is that I saw the Chivo wallet ATMs in a few restaurants in the corridor, in the Salvadoran corridor. But these ATM machines did not dispense any dollars. So if you if you were saving money on the Chivo wallet and you want to get dollars because you need to spend something, there's no way you can do it because these machines only accept dollars to buy Bitcoin. So that could be something that could be changed because that will incentivize the people to use the ATMs, not only to send money, but it also to save their money and to withdraw dollars when they need them. That would be, something that could be done, in a kind of different level, but that will definitely make, I know with the strike, you can actually get, if you have a Bitcoin, you can actually set up your bank account and transfer to your bank account and withdraw dollars. But it's something that's that it will definitely it will be an incentive for people to start using the Bitcoin as a form of saving or a way of keeping like a personal bank, with them.
Anyone else out there have any questions they want to ask Fernando about what he's doing there in LA, or anybody else in that area that wants to connect with him and maybe be involved? Well, Fernando, so for people that are listening to this later, most of the people wind up listening to either on the YouTube channel or later on Twitter when we post it. What is the best way for them to connect with you? Make sure, why don't you just announce your Twitter handle in case they can't see it on the screen, where they can follow you on Twitter, or if there's any other ways they can follow or get involved.
Sure. The best way, and it's definitely there will be no lost, is through the Twitter account, and that is at BTC Republic LA, and that's a direct message there, or any message anyway. That's definitely a secure way to do it, or can be through my personal account, which is this one, Gallegos Fest, and direct message is good, or any message would be fine. And also, I have they can write me to my email to fernando.gallegos@hotmail.com. That's a very simple way to also get in touch with me. And I will definitely appreciate anything that anybody who wants to um, get together or talk about it, or if they have any idea, or anything. The whole my idea is to make this a group of people who are working together to make this happen. So anybody who wants to join, it's welcome. And especially with the classes, I am planning to offer Spanish speaking classes for the diaspora, but I also would like to have English classes in case there's somebody else, who's not part of the diaspora but wants to learn about it, and if someone have the time and would like to teach the class also. So it's also um, you know useful, and it could be important to do. So, and another way also, I have the my project on the Geyser.fund /project/Bitcoin Republic. I have merchandise. They call it rewards. If you want to help the project, get one of those rewards, and your contribution will help to continue doing this. And I have designed a football jersey that is a replica of the Salvadorian jersey, the Salvador wore during the World Cup in Spain in 1982. So it's a cool jersey, and it's very nice, well made. It's high quality microfiber, poly microfiber, and it's a nice jersey. It's a nice you know memory reward from El Salvador if you want to contribute to this project. So it'll be nice if anybody can do that. So that'll be well appreciated.
Yeah, definitely support this project. I know what a long and kind of lonely road it can be sometimes leading these projects, especially in the early days. And so definitely encourage you to throw their support behind Fernando. Of course, if you can pick up one of those super cool jerseys, that's a huge bonus. But make sure you send some sats their way, and help them be able to continue, because it always feels very, very slow and hard in the beginning time. So make sure you're part of that. Fernando, have you been to El Salvador recently?
No, I haven't been there recently. It was been a few years.
You're gonna have to come down for the conference in November at some point.
Yeah, at some point
things are changing.
I had to plan it. I had to figure it out. Yes, I had to get down there and meet people down there for sure.
Yeah, well, awesome. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. I'll let you, if there's any last things you want to share, or anything you want to throw out there to the listeners. Why don't you go ahead and wrap us up, Fernando?
Yes, I would appreciate if anybody is interested of joining the project and donating some time, and if they have some ideas, things that we could do, like this friend idea of doing these meetups in Glendale, for example, or any other ideas, or anything they want to contribute to the project with time and their capacities, it would be great. So write me a direct message, tell me what your idea is, and we can probably put it together, or if we can work it together. So that'd be great. So anything, anything, it's a great help.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to keep following what you're doing. I love getting the feedback from people on the ground, and realizing how far we still have to go here in LA. It's in some ways it's daunting, and in other ways it's encouraging to just realize El Salvador really is leading the way. And so the U.S. and some of these other places are behind, including the Salvadoran community living in the U.S. So we need to make sure they know what's happening in this great thing they have the chance to be a part of. So definitely need to get the word out. So, well, thank you guys. I appreciate everybody who's joined or who's listening after the fact, and make sure that you're supporting BTC Republic LA. And we'll be back here next week with another project.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.